Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
Our public schools are a place where all kids feel like they belong.
My children.
My family. My community.
All students.
All students.
All students belong in a great public school.
Let's get ready for back to school at nea.org/backtoschool.
Kids, listen to your mother.
Mom!
Welcome to Between Us Moms with Katie Crafts-Morg and Hallie Stevens-Drake.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Between Us Moms. I am so thrilled to welcome today's guest to the podcast. She is a registered dietitian and nutrition expert, which means that she knows everything you need to know about food and health. She herself has lost 100 pounds. She is relatable, funny, and oh so savvy. She's a cookbook author. She posts incredibly helpful and informative content to her over 700,000 Instagram followers. And of course, she is a mama. Moms, please welcome Ilana Muhlstein to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for doing this with us. I feel like now is the absolute perfect time to have you on because kids are back in school. Parents are juggling. And so I thought we would break this into like almost two parts. The first being kiddos' health and nutrition, and then some hacks for us mamas as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's so interesting because my audience is mostly moms, but whenever I post kid nutrition content compared to mom weight loss content, I think moms really want to focus on themselves, which is nice because honestly, when the mom eats well, the kids tend to eat well too, but it's important to hit both fields.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like when you're postpartum and after you've become a mom, it's so easy to like forget about yourself and to just focus on the kids. But let's, as moms do, let's start with the kids.
Yeah. Totally.
Hallie and I, our oldest kids, we're both moms of two. Our kids are both in school. Mine goes to school 3 days a week, half days. And so I'm kind of new actually to the packing lunch game. And so I thought we would start with something kind of just like simple, like what is the absolute best and most nutritious thing that you can pack for your kids to eat at school so that they aren't crashing before their afternoon nap or later at night or just like getting a sugar high? Like what is it?
Totally. So as young as possible, especially with your first kids, especially when they're young, go for the nutrition. Also, the teachers in those young grades really promote it, so they want the kids eating nutritiously. They're asking the kids, where are your fruits and vegetables? Where's your protein? Sadly, when the kids start to become like fourth grade, fifth grade and up, the teacher stops sitting with the kids. The kids get to have like lunch break. They start to eat at their own tables. The teachers don't know what they're eating. That's when my like fifth graders and second grader tells me like, why are other kids bringing Oreos? And I'm like, you're not even allowed to bring that to school. You're not supposed to be bringing junk food to school, but there's no supervision. So you really have to own those early years and be as healthy as possible in those early years. Also, that is the whole French concept. The French believe in establishing healthy eating habits in years 0 to 5. So parents listening to this, that's not when you give your kid like Dunkaroos and all that type of stuff. That's when you give them the most nutritious things. First things first, you should really be thinking about protein. So you really want to make sure your kids are getting protein midday. That's going to help keep their focus up, their energy balance, their blood sugar balance, and so forth. We want to make sure they're getting protein for their optimal growth and development. So I love hard-boiled eggs. My older kids love them at home, but do not want them in their lunchbox. At the older grades, they start to get not teased, but they get the comments from the friends, and you don't have that. I have found under 4 years old in that preschool, nursery school setting. So my baby loves hard-boiled eggs. Same goes with tuna. My older kids love it at home, don't want it in their lunchbox because they fear of the smells and what the other kids will think. But my 3.5-year-old loves tuna in his lunchbox. So you want to be thinking about protein. For the older kids, when it comes to protein, I have to be a little bit more savvy. They'll eat turkey slices if it's in a roll up or in a sandwich type thing. Versus my baby, who I just kind of roll them up on their own and he eats them almost like sticks. The older kids, they'll do leftovers. So chicken, like grilled chicken, I could put it on skewers or something like that, or ground up meat. If it stays nice and warm, they'll do that mixed with pasta or in like a deconstructed taco situation.
Yum.
Other
I want that.
I know. I'm like, that
Good.
sounds great.
When they're younger, do everything. And my younger son, like he'll take salmon leftovers, but my older kids won't. So, try to be as nutritious as possible in those early years because sadly, as they get older, wanting to be like the friends starts to really kick in. And it's just this like natural thing that I find stems every school, across the world. So then for the older kids, I have to get a little bit more savvy about sneaking in that protein. I love Goodles. Goodles macaroni and cheese is a high protein macaroni and cheese. We do that at least 1 to 2 times a week. I'm their nutrition advisor. I love it. We all love it. So I tend to do more like the sneaky proteins for the older kids. We'll do like a cheese quesadilla type thing, and I'll do like high protein bread if I can find it. So you have to get a little more savvy. But fruits and vegetables is a must. So every kid across the board gets fruits and vegetables every single day. So that's cucumbers, peppers, baby carrots, seaweed. All counts as a veggie if I need to. Maybe a little chopped salad as they become more interested in that.
Yeah.
But always veggies and always fruits. I mean, we do every fruit in this house. Kiwi, grapes, apples, peaches. There has to be that fresh element of fruits and vegetables every single day. And then, of course, there's, the snacks. And I just always try to keep those as low sugar as possible. So yes, they need that crunchy carb in the middle of the day. The kids are running around, they're moving, their brains run on carbs. So I just try to get them to be sourdough pretzels or whole grain pretzels or popcorn that's a whole grain and filled with antioxidants. Or even if it's a chip, it's avocado oil chip or one that's less processed versus the sugary snacks. So if it's going to be a snack, even if it's indulgent like a croissant, I still rather it be something with more fat and a little bit more savory than something that's super sugary and junky.
Totally. My kids just love snacks. They want to snack all day long.
So this is exactly what I had on my list. Like top of mind, I had to ask you this. I am very much in the snacking all day routine. I joke that I'm my kid's snack bitch because I'm constantly making snacks and we're trying desperately to break that habit and try to force more eating at meals. What would be your advice I think this is pretty universal.
Yeah,
I think a lot of moms experience this. How do you break the
snack cycle? How to
Yes.
break
Oh my
the
God.
snack cycle? Well, first off, the word snack is just buzzy and exciting. So
Yeah.
kids rather the idea of a snack than rather the idea of a meal. So sometimes you just have to play into the marketing of it and throw them a hard-boiled egg and call it a snack and call sliced cucumbers with a sprinkle of salt a snack, but we still have to optimize for the fruits, the veggies, and the protein moments because the reason why your kids are always hungry for a snack is because they're never getting full. And the reason why they're never getting full is because they're likely not eating fiber or protein. So they need to break up the snack regimen, even if they think it's a snack, but they're almost like mini meals that are just occurring throughout the day because their stomachs are smaller, but they have to get broken up with jerky or hard-boiled eggs or turkey roll-ups we call turkey tacos or tuna and crackers. But they need to be getting in that protein because otherwise they're never going to feel full because their bodies are craving the protein for their rapid growth and development. If they don't get it, they're going to constantly feel starving. And it's very annoying for you as a parent to always be feeding them and they're never satisfied. So you have to get them into protein. And then veggies and fruit are super important because they're filled with fiber. And fiber is also very filling for them and also keeps them nice and regular. And fruits and veggies also contain a lot of water and they need a ton of water. And they're much less likely than us moms with our big Stanleys to be chugging in the water that they need. So you just have to be breaking mixing up the snacks with that. And you can make it fun by taking the sliced apples and dipping it with a yogurt mixed with cinnamon, a vanilla yogurt mixed with cinnamon, or doing banana and peanut butter bites and using a little toothpick so they're eating it on a stick because kids love sticks. But you definitely need to be working in the fruit, the vegetables, and the proteins. Otherwise, they're never going to be full.
I want to be your kid.
Yeah, seriously.
Your
I feel the
snack
same
game
way.
is top notch.
I feel the same way. I was not blessed on nutritious foods, and I'm like so grateful that they are. And thankfully, they really love and appreciate it too. So,
Good.
my daughter will peel a whole carrot and snack on that. They love plums. I really try to keep it exciting by one, educating them. So sometimes they'll ask me, Mommy, what's this good for? And if you're not a dietitian, you could also just do a quick chat GPT, like explain to a third grader why carrots are good for them because they want to learn. They're thirsty for that knowledge. And then they like to say, I have superhero eyes or whatever else it is. So definitely do that. The same thing with like string cheeses. My kids will be like, look how big my muscles are. So the education piece is huge. Mom eating it happily with a smile is huge. And I'll say also variety is a really big thing. Like back to the fruit thing. Fruit is amazing on how seasonal it is. And so in the summer, we're really doing the peaches. We're really doing the strawberries. And in the fall, we're really going to do the plums. And if you can get to a farmer's market and the kids can actually see the changing of the seasons and what's the difference there, I think they'll really enjoy it. Also, like I'll tell the kids, like this is a blood orange, this is an aprium, an apricot plum hybrid. So making it exciting, like it's like a new flavor Dorito. You have to be as powerful as these marketing companies are.
You are a wealth of knowledge. I feel like we are 10 minutes in and I've already learned so much. What I struggle with is my kids eat fruit like there's no tomorrow. In the morning they love frozen blueberries, they love strawberries, they love mango. Vegetables, forget about it. Sometimes
Okay, so we
they'll
have to do better on the veggies.
Yes, and like what is the secret to that or how do we make them more tasty? Because my 2-year-old, almost 2.5-year-old will not eat a vegetable. She literally, I try to sneak it in sauces and she's like, no broccoli, no broccoli. And she
Oh,
picks
no. We
every
got to work
little
on
thing.
that.
Yes. What do I
So
do?
first off, if your kid loves fruit, this is like a hot take, but if your kid loves fruit and doesn't like veggies, pretend that some veggies are fruits. So sugar plum cherry tomatoes, super sweet, and technically are a fruit, but like tell your kid that they're fruits, that they're just like strawberries and raspberries, because they are the benefits of a veggie in terms of being low sugar, high in lycopene, high in antioxidants, so you could work that angle. Also, veggies need a little love. So fruit, really juicy strawberries in the summer, they're really good and sweet as is. Obviously, they're sweeter if you add some sugar, but they're really good as is versus veggies need a little bit of love. My favorite tool for veggies is salt. So when you slice up a bunch of red bell peppers, when you slice up a bunch of Persian cucumbers, a little pinch of really good pink Himalayan sea salt, it makes it taste now more like a potato chip. So they need that. The same thing goes with guacamole. Like baby carrots, my daughter will crush a bag of baby carrots with her favorite hummus. And there's this one hummus that we love from our local market. So they need a little bit of dip, a little bit of sauce, a little bit of oil when roasting. So broccoli, my kids eat so much broccoli. They'll like eat an entire tray of broccoli, but I am not shy about the avocado oil and salt and garlic powder that goes onto it. So for me, I have to like hold back because that oil, like sometimes for me, it could be excessive when I'm trying to manage my weight. But if I add oil, like not as much as a deep fried potato chip or French fry, but like a nice amount so it's all coated, they're going for it. And they could also use those healthy fats.
Genius.
Yeah,
People
that is.
don't realize that like no one wants to eat steamed broccoli. Like
Right.
I'm a veggie monster and I don't want to eat steamed broccoli.
Right. You
if
gotta
I'm
make
not
it fun.
having it in ranch,
Yeah.
Dress it up.
So I have a question about vitamins and supplements for kids. Do you think that's necessary? Because a lot of us are dealing with really picky eaters. And I gotta say, I call it healthy gaslighting, what you're doing with the kids. I do this too. It's like, that's not a vegetable. It is a fruit. Like, I love that because it's for their benefit.
Yep.
But sometimes it doesn't work. So how do you feel? And do you think it's necessary for kids to be taking vitamins and supplements?
If they're not eating well, possibly for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. I'm not an anti-supplement dietitian. A lot of dietitians will say you could get it all from fruits and vegetables. I honestly don't believe that. In 2025, we are now like, they say our soil is just not as nutrient dense. Also, I eat so many fruits and vegetables and I need supplements too sometimes, I find. So when it comes to kids, they have such high needs for omega-3s. So omega-3 is true brain food and it's important for adults too. My kids will take, I also live in Los Angeles, so we have lots of avocados at a really good price. When I grew up in New York, if a kid ate avocado, or had avocado in their house, they were like the rich kids, like because I grew up in New York City and an avocado was like $5 and you just didn't see it all the time. But
So
in LA,
real.
in LA, they're everywhere. And my kids will eat like half an avocado with a spoon. Like I'll just like slice up a bunch of avocados and they eat it with the spoon as a, snack with a pinch of salt a lot of times. My son's like that, my daughter doesn't. And so they're getting omega-3s. We also do a lot of salmon in this house and they love it. So I feel good and check that box. My daughter will also put, we call it smart seeds. She'll take chia seeds and put them in her yogurt. So I feel like we kind of hit it. But if your kid is not eating these type of foods, then adding omega-3s, you can get a liquid omega-3 for kids. That's well sourced, and you can put a cap of that in their morning smoothie, or you can get a chewable. So I do think that that's important because they need it for their growth and development. And they have to be getting it one way or another. I used to think that, picky eaters sneaking veggies and things into food was, quote unquote cheating. And as I evolved and had my own kids, I realized it's honestly not because
Yeah.
they're getting it inside of them. And when you sneak veggies and fruits and these supplements into their foods, they are getting the subtle change of taste, that eventually they might grow into. So it's important. If your kid is not eating protein, for instance, your kid still needs to eat protein. So having like if they think they're having chocolate milk, but you really are using a protein powder and getting them protein that way, it's not as ideal as getting chicken. It might not be as bioavailable, the protein. They might be getting added sugars in the process, but they still are getting some protein and they need that. So I don't think you should rely on it wholeheartedly and say that not trying the other foods is the way. But along the journey of getting them to be less picky and accept more whole foods, I think supplement could be very important.
I think that's nice for parents to hear because I think
Yeah.
sometimes we have like that mom guilt, like, is this wrong? Is this right? So that's very helpful. I'm curious. So, what is the one health food that moms and dads think might be good for their kids, but you would never ever put in your grocery cart?
That's such a great question. Uh, Flavored yogurt, squeezable things.
Mm.
We don't do them here. I mean, my kids will see them at another kid's house and get really excited about them. But and I, won't deny them of them if they're at a friend's house and they ask me for one, but I do make it clear that that's a treat. Like that's not a yogurt from the fridge. That's your treat. You're having that because you're not having, you know, a gummy bears from their pantry, Yeah.
Is that
So
because of the added sugars?
it's really sad that everything marketed to kids usually means less protein and more sugar. So when it comes to kids' yogurts, a lot less protein, almost none, and like 6 times more sugar than protein. Like literally, you will sometimes see 3 grams of protein and 18 grams of sugar, like 6 times
And like
more.
added sugar. It's not even,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like 18 grams added sugar. And I'm
yeah.
like, what
With
is
a
this
little
poison?
cartoon on the cover, and it's $2 a pack, and it's like 3 ounces. So I don't believe in them. I actually just saw a TikTok of a mom who makes her own quote unquote Danimals, and she got the containers. So I might make that a video quest in this next, school season. But I do not buy those. I mean, I like the idea of buying the tube ones and freezing them
Uh-huh.
and treating it like an ice cream. But again, it's an ice cream. When I see parents, and I have a lot of friends who do this, and they go, "You need to have a protein, have like, your yogurt drink." I'm like, "Oh no." I do know that the brand Siggy's makes them, and
Yeah.
I know most of their yogurts are less sugar. I don't know if their pouches are less sugar. I didn't look into it, but likely. But you still got to see.
I was just gonna say, is there a brand that you would add to cart? So Siggy's, we buy Siggy's like the vanilla ones because the fruit
Uh-huh.
ones do have more sugar, but
They
I
still
find
generally are usually like the lowest, some of the lowest sugar flavored yogurts you can
okay,
find. But I don't know about their stuff targeted to kids. Again, all brands do this where,
yeah. Well, at Trader Joe's, it's like forget about the yogurt, I've realized. And I
yeah.
love Trader Joe's and it's very upsetting to me. So, not to hate on Trader Joe's because I do love Trader Joe's, but I'm always like looking at the yogurts and I'm like, there's nothing for me here.
Mm,
It's upsetting.
yeah.
I
I
have a
get
question for you. It's like kind of rapid fire. There's all these, I'm like very much in the algorithm of like what's toxic, what's, all the things have been since for 3 years now since I had my baby. But there are trends that are going around that are kind of controversial. So I just want like your hot take on these three. The Clean Plate Club, yay or nay?
nay. I
Love
think
it.
we've all discovered that we can't force kids to finish their plates. Sadly, I grew up finishing my plates, so even though my kids are intuitive, sometimes I go and I eat their crust on their avocado toast and the things that they left behind. But I'm so happy to respect their appetites. The problem is when they, say I'm full after one bite of hamburger and then want to eat three slices of cake. So
Right.
it's a balance. Like I'm not forcing them to eat too much, but making sure they're getting what they need.
How do you feel about raw milk?
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Yeah, no, I'm
Got it.
just, I mean, especially when I see pregnant, there's like a very famous pregnant influencer who is chugging raw milk through her pregnancy. Not a fan. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if someone wants to do it, all the power to them. That's not
Mhm.
something I would do or recommend to anyone else. You just literally don't know what kind of disease a cow is carrying and passing into their milk. It's not being at all looked at after that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's a nay for you. And
So,
then the last one is feeding your kids dinner at 4 p.m.
yeah, I think that really works for a lot of people. I think kids get really hungry at 4 p.m. when they're home from school and they're crashing.
Mhm.
And it's always best to feed kids when they're hungriest because that's when they're usually like the least picky. So if at 4 p.m. you're throwing snacks at them, then come 6 when you have the salmon and the roasted broccoli and the carrot salad, they're not going to be interested because they have the option to not be interested. But when they're really hungry, they'll usually take it down. So, we do a mix of everything in this house. It depends on sport nights, it depends on after curricular activities. I love a 4 p.m. dinner. Sometimes the kids will be like, I'm not hungry yet. I just had a snack. And I'm like, you're going to really be hungry later. The food is hot now. Let's eat. I mean, it just depends on the day. But I am a big fan. I think it generally works out better that way for a lot of
Yeah.
families.
Works in our house too.
I
Yeah.
want to transition now into like the mom stuff, but I do have one quick question, kind of teetering off what Hallie asked. Hydration and like what you were talking about earlier. My kids, it is hard for them to want water. My daughter always wants milk, so I get like organic whole milk. And then sometimes I'm adding water to it or I'm doing coconut water. But I see so many parents of kids who are like 7, 8, 9 doing like Gatorade and doing
No.
those like I forget what it's called, but it's like some sort of like blue drink. And I'm
Not
like,
for me to have like this massive visceral reaction, but like I could not be more anti-Gatorade if I tried. It's truly the worst. I hate that it's trending. It's so bad. I can't stand seeing it on the soccer field and seeing kids like pump their bodies with all those artificial dyes and all of that sugar after exercising. It's just no bueno.
Mhm.
Uh, Obviously, people justify it being okay because there's electrolytes, but just like you mentioned, so is coconut water. So are honestly like electrolyte drinks, like my kids, I like electrolyte enhanced water. I buy, packets or a tub with a scoop that doesn't have artificial colors in it, doesn't have artificial sweeteners in it, doesn't have a lot of added sugar. And I'm very happy to give my kids a sprinkle of that if it helps them drink more water and get the electrolytes they need. But Gatorade is just not, it's just not, it's not good. Like it's just, I'm like I don't mean to, bash a brand, but I just can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Okay.
It makes me so sad. And then you see like some, sports players getting millions and millions and millions of dollars to show they're drinking it when
I
I like
know.
so wholeheartedly believe on the back end, their dietitians and their personal trainers do not have them drinking that stuff either.
Mm-mm.
Really? And they're just taking the ad dollars.
I wholeheartedly believe that. I don't think in 2025 any professional athlete is wanting to drink that stuff. They're trying to keep their careers
Wow.
going as long as possible. They're trying to optimize their performance. They're not trying to drink that.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, but milk and coconut water, we're okay with.
Yeah, we're okay with
Okay.
that for sure. And I think watering down those things, like if it becomes
It's
more than
okay.
6 ounces, is actually a good idea. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Mom stuff. You've lost 100 pounds. I'm so impressed. You look amazing.
Yeah.
I want to know what is the secret to losing the weight for the long haul and keeping it off? I'm in a place where I am now stuck postpartum. I cannot lose those like last 5 to 7 pounds, and I don't know what to do. I don't necessarily want to do like Monjaro or Ozempic or anything like that. I want like sustainable weight loss,
Good for you.
and I need your take. And I feel like a lot of moms are in the same spot that I'm in, like those last 5 to 7 pounds, whether it's like hormones or just your body changing from carrying children.
It's
Like,
also, you're surrounded by so much more food. In the past, when you were 5 to 7 pounds down, you were eating, your spouse was finding his food, and you got on with the day. Now you're also making this 4 o'clock dinner. And then you're also, so being a mom, those 5 to 7 pounds I find are so sticky just because we're around food so much more. We're buying so much more food. We're having so much more options in our pantry. Like it's a lot. And also studies always show that the more people at your table, the more you tend to eat. It becomes a lot more mindless. Everyone's running through the house. I totally get it and can relate to it. Uh, I have a program, the To Be Mindset, with 4 core principles that I have to follow every single day. And I love to follow every single day because I always feel better when I do. Uh, Big believer on drinking water first. I drink insane amounts of water. I always have massive jugs near me at all
cheers.
times of the day. Yeah. So tons and tons and tons of water. Wherever you are, your water should be. Water first, veggies most. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of veggies. It's very common now, everyone's talking about healthy and, like you said, non-toxic, and it's really easy to find yourself eating grain bowls and quinoa bowls and avocado and even soba noodles and all this like clean eating and date oat maple syrup snacks and things like that that might be clean, but there's a huge difference between healthy and healthy for weight loss. And healthy for weight loss is definitely veggies most. And I'm also a big fan of the tracker. So I write down my food every single day. And I believe everyone, especially moms, absolutely have to. I've been running my weight loss program I started my weight loss journey when I was 13. And, I've been talking about this a lot lately. Like, I lost 75 pounds through high school, like on my own
Wow.
with my program. And I was really young when I started. And then I lost my last 25, through college and my master's and stuff. Like, honestly, like before I became a mom, but then I had 3 pregnancies and had to lose it back each time and maintain it. And it's wild to me that there were different points in my weight loss journey where I would write down my food so often I was able to kind of coast and maintain
Yeah.
without it, as long as I was doing all the other things and still using the scale and still using all my other principles. But now having 3 kids, there's literally no way if I try to go 3 weeks, even as a dietitian, even as someone who's preaching all these healthy tips and habits, if I go a few weeks without writing down my food, my weight will slowly trick up and trick up and trick up because of that corner of the avocado toast and this and that. So I write down my food every single day, and I have this incredible app called the Daily Antra, which stands for Optimize Nutrition Thoughts, Results, and Actions, and also Antra on Track, which is its daily reminders to do all the things. And so it's only 5 to 10 minutes a day of reminders of healthy recipes, of audio drops, of affirmations, of all these things. But every single day, it's just that little note in your ear that gets you realizing, oh yeah, like free food, I do always pay for later. I don't need this free sucking candy at the nail salon. And, having that daily reminder, I really feel is making a massive difference for my community in losing those 5 to 7 pounds. like they haven't been able to do before. So I'm really glad that I have this new program that's getting results like I honestly haven't seen before.
What a boss.
Yeah, seriously.
Amazing. I want to ask you because I'm turning 41. Katie's turning 40 next month.
Amazing.
And I cannot go to a social function with women right now without perimenopause coming up. And I know that there's a lot we can be doing to support ourselves and our bodies in perimenopause through our diet. I have not even begun to do that research. So I'm curious what you can advise to those women
Yeah.
uh, that we
I
can be
would say
doing.
first things first is like the hype on creatine, I think is pretty real. I do think
Mm.
it's beneficial for women 41 and over going through perimenopause just because it does have the power to help preserve lean muscle that we're seeing in studies. So I have a container. I have not started taking it. I tell myself I should and I could and I just don't. But I think the second I hit 40, I think I'm going to take it pretty diligently because it's kind of wild how our body's lean muscle stores as women start to decline through that stage, which is what the result of that lower belly pooch and stuff like that that a lot of women start to see and experience. So whatever you could do to preserve your lean muscle mass becomes really important. So it could be creatine or it's definitely strength training and I'm definitely doing that, in advance because we need to keep our metabolisms working as much as possible and keep our muscle as much as possible through that stage. So if you're someone who was not exercising before, as you turn 40, it becomes really like a non-negotiable unless you want to start to see your body, even if you stay lean and weight's not an issue. I do have friends who've gone through it and have clients who've gone through it who just say the body composition really changes. So even if the weight is exactly the same, just more weight or flab in that lower stomach area does become a real thing.
Totally.
Creatine. Oh,
Okay. Coffee before you eat breakfast. Good
The
idea.
whole cortisol thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I always say water first. So you always want water first before your coffee. So you have to drink your 16 ounces of water in order to earn the coffee. So I would definitely start with that because the more water you drink earlier in the day, the more water you crave throughout the day. And I find if people start with coffee, it's almost like all day they're drinking less water and leaning towards more calorically dense foods. I just find if you start your morning with water, you tend to crave more water-filled fruits and vegetables. And that's just something anecdotally I've noticed with my clients. So I always say water first. The whole coffee cortisol spike thing, I think it really depends on if you're going to get activity or not. I think there's a lot of research to support drinking caffeine before a workout can help with your endurance and exercise performance. So I think if you're going to burn off that jitter,
Yeah.
through a workout, it could be really beneficial. I think if you are drinking coffee on an empty stomach, you're not drinking the water first, it's really easy to get jittery, to get anxious, to not drink enough water, to take it out on your eating habits, eat a little bit more mindlessly, and so forth. So I think everyone is different. I don't like to make general, like sweeping suggestions, but that would be one I would do is water first and get activity after the caffeine,
Okay.
even if it's just a walk around the block.
But you don't have to necessarily eat like some sort of breakfast first or anything like that.
There's that one woman who went on this Mel Robbins podcast, and Mel Robbins said 60 times during the interview, share this with a friend, share this with a friend, share this with a friend, because I guess she wanted the views on it. And it worked really well because 70 people shared it with me. So I listened to it and she was like, drink protein coffee, add all this protein supplements to your coffee. And I mean, millions of women, I bet, listen to this. And for me, like, I just don't need that right when I wake up because I work out so early.
Sure.
So I think, try track and see if it works for you. That's why writing down your food every day, I think, is so important and using the scale so you can actually see what's working best for you and not just take the last person's advice you got.
Right, right. Not everything, I mean, this is a podcast, but not everything that you hear is fact. Or
Right.
at least
Or
fact
work
for
or
you.
works best for you. Yeah.
Totally.
Right. I'm hearing a lot about younger women having heart disease.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, from your standpoint, what you think we can be doing to prevent that.
Yeah, totally. I was on the Go Red for Women campaign for many, many, many years. I'm a big like advocate for heart disease, like for heart disease awareness, because heart disease actually kills more women than all cancers combined, including breast cancer. So if you see, everything is breast cancer awareness, and my best friend had breast cancer, and obviously they need more research and they need more funding and all that stuff. But if you look at how much marketing goes to advertising breast cancer awareness compared to heart disease awareness, it's so disproportional, especially because so many more women are dying of heart disease every single day, and every single year, so many more. And I think as women, we look at it as a man's disease, and it actually affects men and women equally. And in fact, a lot of studies and research show that women are less likely to go to the hospital or call 911 when experiencing a heart attack. And it's for many reasons. One of them is because our symptoms are actually different, which is fascinating. But men experience that like textbook left arm, like up and down shooting pains, which women may do too. But a lot of times, women, it actually presents itself as like a bad headache, like a migraine. And so they don't think they should call 911. So I'm actually, as you know, very passionate about this. I don't think you realized that before asking the question, but I actually, I am fascinated by this stuff, because it's shocking and it's so scary.
Yeah.
And it is true that a lot of my friends who are healthy have high LDL, which is the bad cholesterol that you really want to be low. So it is shocking. It is something I'm definitely seeing in my private practice. I think it's something we should be aware of. Everyone should know their numbers. Everyone should go to the doctor. And it can be shocking. Like I've had friends be like, what the heck? Like, why is my cholesterol up? I eat well. It's not even in my genetic predisposition. Like, what's going on? And it could be that it's those, clean eating maple date balls you're eating that are just too much sugar and not enough lean protein, not enough fiber filled vegetables. It could be a whole host of things. But I don't think like anyone's above this. Like, I mean, I thankfully don't have high cholesterol, but I look at it, and if I was told I did, I honestly wouldn't even be surprised, because I have seen healthy people, get these reports back of high triglycerides and so forth. So I think everyone needs to be going to the doctor, even if you go to the gym, even if you think you eat healthy. Your OB exam once a year is not enough. You really need to be going to a general and getting your heart labs checked, your cholesterol levels and so forth.
What can you do to lower those LDLs and to lower that cholesterol? Because some cholesterol is good for us, right?
Yes, there's good and bad.
Okay.
HDL, you do want high, and that could be heart protective. LDL, like L stands for low, you want low. And H, think of like healthy, and you want high. But LDL cholesterol, you definitely want low. If it is higher, I mean, fiber is incredible. Psyllium husk and they're like oats and certain fibers can definitely be helpful, and I've seen them to be very helpful. It could be supplements, it could be exercise. Exercise is so important for the heart. So there's so many women who are like, I eat healthy, I stay a low weight, I don't want to exercise. But you have to exercise because it keeps our heart flexible. It keeps our arteries, it keeps these things so we don't get atherosclerosis. We don't get the hardening of the arteries. It keeps them nice and flexible. So it can pump our blood more effectively. So we definitely have to exercise, and work on things that help with our circulation, like beets. And I mean, I could go on this forever. It's kind of like a case by case basis. I don't want to make, medical, give any sort of medical advice, but there is definitely medical nutrition therapy we call MNT, like nutrition things you can do to help with this case.
We're going to let you go, but I do have one final question.
I don't want to because I have a million
I
questions.
know.
You're
We have
amazing.
so many.
We
You
still have
are,
a few more minutes.
We might have to do a
you
part
do?
two sometime.
Okay. If you have a few more, maybe we'll each do one more.
Oh,
Okay. And I could definitely come
I'm
back.
like, you are incredible.
you're amazing. Yeah.
What is a nutrition myth that drives you absolutely crazy when you see it on TikTok or Instagram from these like experts?
The ingredient thing. Like I think the seed oil thing. And I'm not here saying eat all the seed oils. I do think that they're heavily processed. I do think many of them are processed with hexane oil. I do think like with hexane, I do think that they're not necessarily the most heart healthy, but that doesn't mean that fries fried in tallow are better for you. Like I just think that this is where we like miss the point. And like non-toxic. If it's not a seed oil, then it's fine. If it is a seed oil, I just think people have like really missed the point here. So, for example, what did I show? I showed like puff snacks, like hippies. And hippies are great because they have fiber and they're puffed and they're lower calorie. And I believe they're even like baked. They're not deep fried, but they do have a little bit of canola oil on it. And the fact that like all these people were like, there's seed oils in it. And like, that's not a good snack for your kid because there's seed oils in it. When, if you look at the total fat content on a snack like that, it's actually quite low. So there's actually not a lot in it. And, you know, you telling yourself that like these, I don't know, gummy snacks made with like, you know, this honey chocolate is so much better for your kids because it's made with honey when it's still gonna spike blood sugar and it still doesn't have any protein or fiber like the puff snack does. I mean, I think people just like they want to hang on one simple thing to nutrition, and nutrition isn't even that simple. And so the whole seed oil thing, I think people have just, again, I'm not saying eat all the seed oils because they tend to be in more ultra processed foods that I want people to limit, but that doesn't mean just because something is seed oil free that it's healthy. And then on the next point, it's like not all healthy food is also healthy for weight loss. So like I do think that we get lost in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. I'm actually glad you said that because the fear is there's so much fear mongering on the internet and on social media. Yeah, for moms. And it makes it really hard. I'm like, what am I supposed to feed my kid? Like, I can't even give them water without worrying that there's like, you know, lead in it or, you know, so I like your
do the best you can. We all came out okay. And like my mom probably put Diet Coke in my bottle. So like I think we're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
You know,
I needed to hear
best.
this because even this morning I was making my daughter's lunch and I was like, okay, I need to make sure that like she has fruits and veggies, but then she's probably not going to eat this. And then I need her to have a carb and then she's going to have one bite of this and then she's going to want an applesauce. And I'm like, is that too much sugar? So just everything you've said, I feel like lets us take a deep breath of like,
Totally.
You're going to be okay.
For moms specifically or dads listening or any parent, I have a program called Raising Balanced Eaters. I highly recommend parents take it because that's to set your kids up for success. So they never need to get my weight loss programs down the line and they can always, you can be, you know that you're feeding them well and they're getting everything they need. And there we also focus a lot on anxiety, ADHD, depression. If your kids ever present with those types of symptoms, what you can do about it from a nutritional and lifestyle standpoint. And also on the question of supplements and giving your kids supplements, much more detail oriented on if your kid is picky, what nutritional deficiencies might they have and how to overcome it and specific recipes for them and so forth. So the deeper dive, I have a lot more.
Signing up.
Will you tell all of our listeners where exactly to find that program and how they can sign up?
Yeah, that's rbe.life, I believe, or Raising Balanced Eaters. You can find it.
Okay. You are phenomenal. If you guys are not following Ilana, please go check out her Instagram. You have TikTok, like all the places she posts like recipes and for moms and for kids. And I think you guys will learn a lot. She is a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure if you've listened to this whole episode, you now know. Thank you so much for being with us. Like, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
These are great questions that I think we all, are thinking about on a daily basis. So thank you so much for having me.
Okay, guys, if you got something out of this episode, the best way to say thanks is to share it with a friend, leave a quick rating or review, and hit follow so that you don't miss the next one. It means the world to us, and it helps more moms find this information too. And remember, motherhood is a sisterhood.
Wherever you go, whatever they get into, from chill time to everyday adventures, protect your dog from parasites with Credelio Quattro. For full safety information, side effects, and warnings, visit CredeliaQuattroLabel.com. Consult your vet or call 1-888-545-5973. Ask your vet for Credelio Quattro and visit QuattroDog.com.